This was a Minoan settlement. It had 30,000 people.
Yeah.
It was a huge city, some of which is under the water and hasn't even been excavated. Oh, hello.
Ah!
Aha!
Ah!
Oh, my God.
Well, that doesn't belong here.
No, that's clearly been worked.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a huge block that,
it's probably a wall. Easy to work,
but
bottom
it's
line.
definitely a large worked block from a substantial building.
Well, let's go look for more.
Let's look for more. Huh?
Okay. You see that?
Is that natural?
No.
No.
You know that.
I don't know whether that's a floor or a wall or...
I'd say floor. It's all deposited horizontally in nature. People like their roads to be flat too.
I can
Or
see
floors.
pottery up there.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolute devastation. And right now, it may not look like that much because everything's still.
Yeah.
But to think about the amount of force you need to move all these chunks of material, enough to knock away whatever walls were there.
Yeah.
But what could have caused such massive destruction?
I don't know. Let's keep looking. I'm trying to see if there are any clues.
Okay, this is really cool. So basically with a tsunami, oftentimes you get like these big flood deposits where it's obvious like the water was just super energetic and it was smashing into everything.
Yeah.
But here you've actually got it smashing into a settlement. I noticed when we came in that the ground here, this soil gets real fine.
Yeah.
And if you look at this area, see how that just kind of smears away?
Yeah.
And if you look at my fingers, you can see they're covered in this really super fine ash. This is pulverized rock. And
Yeah.
now this part, this probably was ash that sank down through the water and was mixed in with the marine stuff.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I bet you this is volcanic ash.
I mean, it's a volcano.
It would have been huge, explosive eruptions, ashfall, earthquake, and tsunami.
It's not just a one civilization killer. It would be multiple if you were near the coastline.
This is one of the most incredible examples of people coming into direct conflict with a natural disaster.
Wow, this is a great lead.
Let's go see what we can find that will link us to Atlantis.
Yeah.
All right, so we saw evidence of a tsunami right around here. So where would that have come from in this area, do you think?
If we want to talk volcanoes in the Mediterranean, we have a ton of different options. This whole area is really active geologically. That's because there is a subduction zone here, where the African plate, which is on this side, is diving under this smaller plate. And what that does is it produces a whole sequence of volcanoes throughout the area. And only one volcano is big enough to actually destroy an empire like Atlantis, and that would be Santorini.
Well, it makes sense archaeologically. I mean, because about 100 years ago, they dug up Akrotiri under the ash, which is a settlement with Minoan connections. I know because of the circular shape, it's been connected to Atlantis quite a lot. I've always thought it was a bit of a gimmick, though, like, you know, something to pull in tourist dollars, but you actually think it's a genuine candidate.
It's the only thing in the area that's big enough to cause a geologic catastrophe on the scale needed to wipe out a civilization. There's actually evidence of a devastating eruption about 1600 BC.
My only problem is 1600, because that's way too late for me. So do you think there's a possibility of finding any evidence there of earlier eruptions?
Oh yeah, there definitely were earlier ones, but in order to see if they're in the right time frame, we're gonna have to dig into the rock record. I mean, get our hands dirty.
Tell me why this particular site is always connected to the Atlantean myth.
Okay, it's a large functioning city, like Plato talks about.
Which it is, very
with-
much.
Yeah. He gives a description of them using irrigation. They were really good with water. They were wealthy, they were rich in all kinds of agricultural products with a really good harbor for ships.
And the concentric circles, which you get from a caldera, possibly.
So that is really seductive because so much of it fits with the theory.
Okay.
I have other problems.
I was waiting for you to go, but.
But First of all, it doesn't fit my timeline.
Right.
About 5000
That's the
BC.
big problem.
Well, it's a problem.
Yeah.
A bigger problem is when this place was destroyed around 1600 BC, the Egyptians actually mention it, saying there was a huge explosion somewhere in the
You
Mediterranean.
would expect that.
The sky went dark for 2 years, dead people were being washed up in the Nile.
Oh, God.
So, and they don't mention Atlantis. So I think someone earlier lived here, left and came back.
So there could have been something earlier with your timeline. There
Right.
could have been.
There could have been, and that's what we need to find.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
But see, this is interesting. They've got a bunch of rocks that are, you know, rectangular, and then you've got some that are just blocky.
So they've reused an older building here.
Oh, to shore up a wall?
That's reused stone. That's reused stone.
Right.
Look how deep this is. I mean, you see that wall? Those faced blocks go all the way down to the bottom of this 30-foot.
Yeah, it's not just that, but there could be earlier eruptions underneath. I mean, there will be.
Right.
It's just a given.
Right. So if there's earlier eruptions and we know they were reusing stone, then there could be other cultures buried beneath this one.
Yeah, it's highly possible.
Right.
So I think we need to go out and really look at what's out in the current volcano.
This is really cool, this spot right here. See that really whitish layer that you can follow along the cliff face? That's what I think is our marker line. It looks to me like everything above it is all included from the 1600.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
That's massive.
It's apocalypse, basically. That's what you're looking at.
Bloody hell.
We can actually try to get a sample of the older stuff and see if I'm right about this, because, you know, I don't
Okay.
know. That's 100% another eruption. I just don't know the age of it, so that's what we're trying to figure out. Okay, so now I'm just gonna collect some with the rock hammer. Okay, so this is really poorly cemented, poorly lithified. Just put that in the notes. And I just need a couple of ounces.
We'll send it to the lab and see what they come back with. There were eruptions before 1600 BC,
Okay, that's good.
but there was a huge one as well, 15,000 BC. Yeah, nothing in between, right, in your time frame, nothing big enough
No.
to cause the devastation we would need to wipe out an Atlantis.
That leaves me high and dry there. So that's the Minoans out of the picture for me.
So we're not looking for the people at Akrotiri, we're looking for their ancestors.